Hickenlooper for 5 minutes of questions.
Again, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here. Let me start with Ms. McLaughlin again, and thank you for your dedication, your service to Team USA. It really is remarkable. You stepped inside the lines to compete for your country at the highest level. Given all that we've heard, can we rebuild the confidence in having a level playing field?
I think that there's definitely hope amongst us athletes that we can. It's super important to us all when we're dedicating so much of our time and our lives, and people in our lives are sacrificing for us as well, that there is potential for us too. And I think that by doing things like this and putting trust in you guys and USADA and everything, I think we're making the right steps. So.
Great, thank you. I appreciate you're a role model for so many young people. Really appreciate that. Ms. Kohler, I'm going to swing off a little bit here. Recent House settlement ruled that NCAA Division I schools must pay former athletes over $2 billion in total compensation. Football, basketball, the money flows. Not so much with swimming, track and field. While the aftermath of the House settlement is recent, some Division I schools are considering cutting funding to the non-revenue sports. In the aftermath of the House settlement, what options do universities have, in your opinion, across all levels of the NCAA to grow non-revenue sports?
Well, I think there are lots of options, Senator, and thank you for that question. I think the House settlement does not need to be the death knell for Olympic and Paralympic movement sports at our colleges and universities. I think there's much more to say about this. Every school is in a different position. We know that there are different levels of athletic programs, but I think the solutions are there, and I think the idea that we have to cut Olympic and Paralympic movement programs is wrong. I think there's a lot that can be done, and I'd be very happy to follow up with you in the questions for the record to provide you with a lot of specific ideas that have been out there.
Great, we'll pursue that. And Ms. McLaughlin, again, you obviously have a vested interest in this and you've lived it firsthand. How important is it, in your opinion, to maintaining all the Olympic sports and making sure that swimming and diving, how important is that to the future competitiveness of Team USA?
Yeah, totally. I loved my time swimming in the NCAA. It was some of my most fond memories as an athlete, and I think it gives so many young swimmers and athletes something to dream of and look forward to. And yeah, I think it was an amazing experience, so thank you.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. Ms. Ledecky, when she spoke on Sunday, I think she estimated she'd swum 26,000 miles and looked at every mile as an investment in who she was to become. And I'm sure that all of you had that same kind of commitment and that investment in yourselves, which is truly powerful for the next generation. Mr. Tygart, thank you for your work with leading the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. Is it clear that the World Anti-Doping Agency, that WADA, has lost the confidence of many athletes? I think we know what that is, but what reforms or actions do you think WADA needs to take to rebuild trust within sporting federations and athletes before the 2028 Olympics?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. Listen, we hear from athletes every day, and you heard from the video, not just based here in the United States, who are frustrated, who are upset, who realize the global regulator doesn't actually have their back, in fact. And so I think the confidence has been undermined, and it's coming on the heels of the Russia state-sponsored doping. If you see in my long testimony about the weightlifting, it was biathlon before that, it was track and field before that. Here we go again, and we have to get this cleaned up to be effective going forward.
And transparency, obviously transparency and accountability.
I think the silver bullet on reform, to answer the second question, is independence. And I think with independence then flows transparency, accountability, effective use of resources, engaging in dialogue to how to better themselves, and then ultimately trust, which is the most important aspect for a system that is supposed to give confidence to athletes doing it the right way is the only way to win.
Right. And Dr. Gupta, how do you think we can build the international collaborative efforts to get back to this goal of trust?
Thank you for that question, Senator. I think it's going to be important that the United States works with other countries, like-minded, We have worked within the Americas, 41 nations, where we were elected for the second time just this past April. I think we have to continue to do that with European partners, allies in New Zealand, in Australia, in Japan, and others, to make sure that, again, the transparency, accountability is first foremost in order to build that trust into WADA.
Great. Thank you very much. I yield back to the chair.
We thank you and know you have to rush off.
I appreciate
So go make that speech well.